there is a God. People get caught up on day to day problems that they end up living in confusion and frustration. This lifestyle is so intensive with drama that they forget to focus on the fact that there is a God. You know, people like, I guess you could say, I always, I was one of them people, that was one of them persons that, you know, that would happen to, that's why I'm writing it, because I would always get, lost, and just and being frustrated and being agitated and, you know, um saving for this and saving for that. I mean, if I wanted to go to see a movie, I would have to save. I would have to set time. I would have to, and then to go watch a stupid movie full of therapy, you know. But like I said, it all gets, whether it's money problems, whether it's a spouse, whether it's kids, whether it's that, you know, people forget that can, they can step out of the situation that they find themselves in and get some fresh air, get some fresh air. They forget, that they can, pray to God. They forget that they can meditate. You know, there's going to be problems. In life, there's going to be problems. You know, people have problems, you know, but you but that doesn't mean that as people as a like for example of myself, just because I have a whole bunch of problems, that doesn't mean that I I doesn't give reason for me to get caught up in the stupidity and the frustration. I can't do nothing about it. Why get frustrated about it? I can't have this, I can't have that. There's no reason to get frustrated about it when there's people that are dictating everything that you can and cannot have. It's like being in prison. In prison, you have to accept. In prison, you have to accept that you'll never have a certain amount of things. Why? Because it's prison. You did something wrong and you're in there. But what I'm saying is the sensation of it. In prison, you don't have, how would you say it? There's just some things that you do not have. I mean, you might have a commissary, you might have like access to like a soda or some ice cream, but you don't have access to your own kitchen. You don't have access to, going out in the free world. You don't have access to going to a concert. You don't have access to, etc., etc., and you have to accept it. Imagine how that must feel, and that you're living a certain situation, but you could be living a much worser one, a much worser one. And then that's when you space out. That's when you get that fresh breath of air that hits you in the face. When you start to complain about this and you start to complain about that, and you forget to take a deep breath. And that's when people forget and they get caught up, very much like I have. And you forget to contemplate that there's a God. There's a God that exists. That there's evil people that are out there that think that they're able to, because they pray to this or because they pray to that, or because, you know, they're part of this or because they're part of that. That's God allowing them to have, for one reason or another. All power comes from God. So regardless of whether they think that they're satanic worshipers and that they have because of this and that they have because of that, They're stupid. They have because God allows them to have. And that's how much God is great. That's how great God is, you know. And people they don't they're so blind that they can't see what's happening. They can't see what's actually happening. Like what's happening? Can you tell what's happening? And so there is a God, and like I ask myself, why am I going through this? I always, thought that I did something wrong, to deserve, the situation that I'm in, you know. But I've thought about it and I've thought about it, and it's like, no, I grew up in a government project. They tried their best to kill me and are trying their best to kill me. Period. That's why I find myself in this situation. And I tell myself, there's a God after all of this. I tell myself how many people have not lived this type of experience that I'm living. How many people have not died in the situation that I find myself in. And the exact same, very similar situation. How many people have not died?